Okay, welcome to our masterclass series. This is Recruiting 201, and today we're going to talk about objections with recruiting. So we will be doing this for another 35 minutes, guys. I'm glad that you're here. And so really quickly, before we started with the training, we were talking about some objections that people had around not wanting to recruit yet. And so one of the ones that we just went over is I'm not ready because I'm not leading from the front. So you want to start recruiting, and I don't know why you would wait. So think about this. Let me see. Benaya, if you knew, if I started a business, right? And Benaya can speak to this because I'm one of the first people, like he's one of the first people that I talked to. Even though I didn't know what I was doing, I talked to Benaya about Family First Life. He was not ready at that time, but eventually he did come. Right. So Benaya, if I said I've been in this business for 2 years and I made $100,000 last year and I'm about to make 300,000 this year, would you be upset that I didn't tell you about it 2 years ago?
Yes, I would be very upset because I would want to know why I couldn't get in at that time.
Okay, so so because then you could have possibly been in the same position that I am, right? 2 years later, but you've been struggling for the last 2 years because I'm so worried about how I feel because when we're talking about ourselves, we are being selfish to other people. So Yvette, when you say I'm not ready, you're being selfish by not sharing the opportunity with other people who may be ready, right? And so but I put him. I'm making it about me. Did that part make sense to everybody? About making it about you when you don't
Yes.
recruit?
Yes.
Okay. So there may be somebody who's struggling who needs this opportunity, but because you're not ready, then you're not going to talk to somebody that may be ready to change their life. And is that fair to them?
No.
Perfect. So that's one objection. Let me see. The other objections that I wrote down that people may be getting about themselves is does anybody feel like they just want to sell? They only want to sell personally. They don't want to recruit. Everybody wants to recruit. Nobody just wants to just sell.
I did it first.
Okay, thank you for your honesty, Dana.
Yeah,
So
I did it first. All I wanted to do was come in, sell, make my money, and keep it moving that way. But as I see the team is growing and what FFL Fury and High Voltage is doing, as a team or collective, I feel like I can put more effort in to try to recruit.
okay, thank you for your honesty. So a lot, and it's okay because the beauty about Family First Life is you don't have to recruit. So I don't want to mistake this conversation, guys, with you having to recruit. You can get all the way up to 130% commission without ever recruiting a soul, right? So you don't have to recruit here. So this meeting and this conversation is for the people that want to build a business and there's been something stopping you from building a business, right? And so if you and you want to look at, like, think about it a little bit at a time. I think people believe that they got to do everything at once. The people that we have here now is a result of all the people that we recruited over the last 3 years, and not just who I recruited, but who's recruited under people, under people, under people. Like Dana, for example, I recruited Corinne. Corinne recruited Darren, and this is just in the last year. I recruited Corinne. Corinne recruited Darren. Darren recruited you, didn't he, Dana? So Dana's 3 levels
Yeah, he
deep.
did.
So if there was no, so if Darren never opened his mouth to you, Dana, you would still be at the practice company.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't
Oh.
have. No, I wouldn't have. No, I wouldn't have.
But you know, like you wouldn't been here if he never. That's my whole point.
Because when I was at the practice company, I had just slacked over the 6 months, trying to find another opportunity. And then Darren just up and called me. It took him all of maybe 15 minutes to recruit me.
Okay.
It didn't take long.
So my point is, if he would have never opened his mouth to you, what are the chances that you would be here today?
Slim to none.
Right. And and we don't know, you know what I'm saying? You might be here and you may not be here. You may be with another, agency, but Darren had a conversation with you about working with FFL. And at the time, Darren wasn't doing a lot. And so he recruited you based on what he knew, based on his excitement about the new opportunity. Just like Josh. Darren recruited Josh. Yeah. So think about this, guys. I recruited Corinne recruited Darren recruited Josh Kahn. Now, don't know, everybody on this call knows who Josh Kahn is, right? Because Josh Kahn consistently puts up work. But what if Darren never opened his mouth and talked to Josh? Josh was at the same practice company, right? And Josh was making pennies compared to if anybody saw the other day, he posted his Americo check in the group. He made $4,000 in a day. He would have never been able to do that anywhere else. So Josh was struggling at the practice. He wasn't even making that in a month at the practice company.
No.
But I opened my mouth to Corinne. Corinne opened her mouth to Darren, and Darren opened his mouth to Dana and Josh. Those are just two examples, right? But because people have been opening their mouths and telling other people about the business, today FFL Fury has over 600 licensed agents in the agency. But it has to start somewhere, because if you never open your mouth, nobody's going to know what you're doing. Ask yourself, are you a secret agent? And then ask yourself, what are you scared of? Because really at the end of the day, Dana, it's fear, right? You're fearing how somebody may look at you. But how about if somebody looks at you and they're like, oh, you're not really doing anything over there? So what? But I'm showing you the opportunity. All I needed to know when the guy that recruited me, Mike Barnes, the guy that recruited me into FFL, the only thing I wanted to know is how much money was he making every month. I didn't know what his number. I didn't even know he was telling me the truth. And now I don't think he was. I don't think he was telling me the truth. But he said what he heard other people say. And he told me, he's like, I'm making between $10,000 and $15,000 a month. Was that true or not? I don't know, but it was enough to pique my interest for me to see for myself. Because I said, if he's doing it, Dana, I know I can do it.
That's what got me.
Okay.
Yeah, he showed me one of his days that he did that real big day over the weekend, and that's all it took. That's all it took to convince. It didn't take much to convince me.
Okay, so then Dana, so let's go back to your initial objection, which was, what was your objection?
My objection is getting someone who wants to change, in their lifestyle or whatever, who wants to make the money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you've only recruited 2 people, I can tell you're not talking to enough people. I'm not. That is the bottom line. So this is just like with the leads, guys. We have leads so that there's people to go see. But everybody that we call does not say, yes, I want insurance. That's just what it is, right? And so, and depending on the kind of lead you get, you might have to go through 20, 25 different people before you get one person to say yes. So this is the same thing. This is not a lead. It's not a lead, but it's a conversation with different people saying, hey, are you interested in making it, keep it low, an extra $2,000 to $3,000 a month? For most people, that's a game changer. They don't have to come here and bid an FFL full time. And we want people, we are looking for people, Data, that are looking for us. But if you don't open your mouth to enough people, then people are not going to know what you're looking for.
That's true.
Right. And so, like I said, if you've only recruited 2 people, you haven't opened your mouth to enough people for people to even say, yes, I'm interested and I'm business minded and I want to do what you're doing. I want to find out more about what you're doing.
Exactly.
But it starts with, guys, opening your mouth and getting out of your comfort zone and having conversations with people about changing their lives, y'all. The economy is bad. Most people are struggling.
Right.
And so we really do have an answer to people's economic issues, to the right people. Now, we're not looking for everybody here, right? Everybody is not a good fit for FFL. This is not like the company that we came from, that we're just putting a bunch of people in the system and see what happens. Because you do that, you're going to end up with debt from the people, because everybody doesn't come here with the best intentions. And we've talked about that, in previous trainings. However, you do have to talk to a lot of people to narrow it down to a couple people that will be a good fit for the company and will be a good fit for your team, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's probably going to have to work with them. So you want to make sure they're going to be a good fit for you. So don't feel like you have to recruit everybody that just because they want to come into the business. Don't recruit everybody into the business. And so we're going to talk about that, right? So let's go through the objections of the people that, so when we're recruiting, we get objections. Just like when we're calling leads, we get objections, right? And so a lot of times people don't want to recruit because they don't know how to overcome the objections that people may have. So one of the objections I have here, and this is, Dana, I'm talking to you about the business, right? And I'm telling you, all the stuff about it. And then I'm like, well, I don't have no money for leads. What do you say? Does anybody know what to say?
I don't know what to say on that one.
That's okay. Does anybody outside of career know what to say?
Where Josh
Nobody?
Where Josh
Can you tell them that
in the beginning
you can help them
is
at
motivated,
first?
you can provide. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Oh, it's one person. Who was? I don't know who that was talking.
Oh, I was just saying that you can show them or help them with some leads.
I don't help. We can't help everybody with leads. So that depends. Josh, what were you going to say?
So to get started, if you've already accumulated some leads, there are some leads that you can provide your team with to get them started. And then you can show them the different options, because they don't have to spend $15 on a lead, $40 on a lead. There are different vendors that we have that we're partnered with FFL that you can find leads for as little as like 75 cents. So there are a variety.
So there are leads that are 25 cents, guys, if you don't know. Thank you, Josh. But that's one good way to do it. Another way is, so if you are, and this is another reason you want to go and you want to make money, because you want to be in position to be able to help the right people with leads, right? So if just because I recruit you doesn't mean that I owe you leads, right? You need to show me, you or whoever you're recruiting, they need to see that, you need to know that they're serious about this business. How do you know they're serious? Because if you give them a small task, hey, I want you to watch this video real quick and let me know what you think. If they don't get back with you, they're probably not coachable, or this is not a priority. So why would you go out and spend money on this person to help them get started? So, give them some small tasks to take care of. Tell them to get on the live dials. Tell them to download Telegram and see what they do. And if they're not doing the small things, guys, they're not going to do the big things, right? And so there's only certain people that you should be, as a business owner, helping out with leads, right? And then most people can come up with some money, right? And I mean, when I started, and I hate to keep talking about myself, but when I started, I didn't have any money. I was driving Lyft. So I went out and drove enough Lyft so that I could get leads to get started in the business. If you got somebody who wants this, they'll figure out a way to really make it work, right? And so nobody gave me any leads when I got started. But if you are going to help somebody get started, now I am in a position where I can give people leads. However, but I need to see some things in you to know that it's okay to invest my money into you. Because basically when you're giving somebody leads event, let's say I give you 50 leads that are $3 a piece. That's $150 that I might have spent on the leads. However, that could turn into 1,500, 2,000. So I'm basically giving you money in your hand to get started. So if I'm going to give you money, Yvette, I need to know that you're going to do right with the money before I give it to you. Does that make sense? Just anybody.
Yeah, it does.
It makes sense. I couldn't get on.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
it does.
Thank you.
I couldn't
Okay.
find my mute button.
So
Couldn't get
it's
the mute
okay.
off.
That's one objection. Here's another one. I saw somebody just gave it to me last night, so this is perfect. I saw the FFL got sued. What did you say to that one? Any volunteer before I call on somebody? This is a tough one.
I want to hear the answer to this one.
Let me see who I can call on. Avis, you about to say something?
I'm here, but my response would be that's nothing unusual because look how many families we service. And the same
Okay.
way, you know, somebody sued McDonald's for hot coffee. You know the coffee's hot. There's
There you
circumstances.
go. There you go. So that's like don't you want to, number one, act like it's not a big deal. And it's not. You know what I'm saying? Companies get sued all the time. So the lady that asked, she was like, well, I need to get some more information because I just read that you guys got sued. I said, what big company doesn't get sued? I said, there's all kind of people that's trying to make money. So that's a part of being a big business. The bigger we get, probably the more lawsuits FFL is going to have. And the other thing that I asked her, I said, so we got sued, but has there been a judgment in the case yet? Because we're guilty we're innocent until proven guilty. So if we got sued and there's not been any result, we don't even know if it's a valid lawsuit. But at the end of the day, you can come over here and decide for yourself what you want to do with this thing called FFL. And then guess what? If we are going to go out of business, let's get all this money while we can. You know what I'm saying? So, like, make light of it, but Avis is on the right track. Big companies get sued, guys. It's not a big deal. Like, if you make it a big deal to the person that you're talking to, then they're going to feel like it's a big deal. But you know, I was like, yeah, companies get sued all the time. But, I mean, that just means we're growing. Josh said, my biggest objection is everyone thinks that this MLM. What's the best way to overcome that? Perfect. So, Josh, when you were in the other company, did people ask you recruited a lot of people in the other company, did you?
Yes.
Were you making any money there?
No way.
Was it an MLM? Did people think it was an MLM?
So they didn't tell me it was, but I very quickly I found out that it was.
But the people that you're recruiting think it was an MLM?
Oh no.
You sure?
Oh no, I'm sorry. At my practice company, yeah.
Okay.
I think we
So then,
that it was like the basis of it.
so what did you do to overcome the objection there? Because we weren't making any money. MLM is a multi-level marketing company. So like Mary Kay is an MLM. Right? So what did you do to overcome the objection there? Because you weren't making money. So you didn't have no checks to show them. So what did you do?
Now that I think about it, we always pointed them in the direction of leadership. Yeah, we always showed them to. We always put somebody that was in the distance that, hey, this is somebody who's making money. You know, and that was
right.
Like what we showed as.
So here, right? So somebody said this is a multi-level marketing company. Number one, this is how brokerages work. Insurance brokerages, real estate brokerages. This is how businesses work at the end of the day. The government works the same way. There's one person at the top, and that's the president. And then everybody else is underneath the president. Is that a pyramid?
No.
No. You talking to us, Ms. Avis?
Well, I'm looking at the fact that everybody has their own rank.
Everything is.
But it's still everything is shaped like a pyramid.
Mhm.
Like I'm not trying to offend anybody because I go to church, but if you church is a pyramid. Like there's the pastor or whoever's at the top, and then you got people under him and people under him, and then everybody else are the members. And the members are what supports the church. So every business is a pyramid. So, but insurance brokerages and real estate brokerages work the same way. They recruit people. If you go work for what is it called? Something Williams, I can't remember. But one of the real estate companies, there's somebody who owns the real estate brokerage, and then the people in the brokerage, every time they go out and they sell a house, they make money. This is the same thing. It's no different. Somebody says your own family's a pyramid, right? So at the end of the day, right? You're just explaining to people what makes sense, and the way that you overcome objections, guys, whether it is with a client or if it's with you're trying to recruit somebody, the best way to overcome objections is how? How do you overcome objections the best way? Do you tell or do you ask?
Tell.
No.
So you act.
Who said
Ask
that?
questions.
You ask
Josh.
questions.
Let's do you act.
So y'all, everybody write this down. The person asking the most questions is the person controlling the conversation. Everybody got that?
Mm-hmm.
The person that's asking the questions is the person controlling the conversation. So let me see who I can role play with real quick. Dante.
Hello, how are you?
Good morning. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm great.
It's some feedback. Let me cue somebody else. It's like an echo.
Sorry.
Let's see. Eze. King Eze. See, now we see who's really paying attention.
Okay, do it for mine.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there y'all go. Good morning. Look at y'all. Hey now.
Good morning.
All right. I forgot my question now. What was I calling you?
Gonna role play.
Oh, okay. We're going to role play. What we role playing? I really forgot. Okay, I'm going to come back.
Asking
Giving you
questions,
objections.
questions to
Asking
overcome
questions.
objections.
Thank you. See, somebody pay attention, and I clearly.
Good job, Verlene.
All right. All right, Essay. So we're going to do some. So Essay, I'm going to tell you about the business real quick. Blah, blah, blah. FFL, the best thing ever. I'm going to also tell you the cons of FFL. And I can have Corinne go over that next week. But so I'm telling you all about FFL. So, you know what I'm saying? Are you ready to get started with me, Essay?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let me give me some objections.
Okay. So let me see. Objection. Let's think. Yeah, I'm ready, but what kind of results are you having? How is it working for you?
That's a great question. So let me ask you this. Do you normally base your success on someone else's? Because I can tell you how successful I am. Okay. So if I tell you how successful I am, how does that indicate how successful you're going to be?
Well, you do have a point. That was just something I was interested in. Okay. Well,
Okay.
let's see. And why do I have to pay for my license and appointment? How come that's something that the company doesn't take care of, since you guys take care of the education?
The class, yeah, that's a great question too. Because guess what? Is that FFL's license or is that going to be your license?
It's gonna be my license, right? But I'll be working with
Okay.
FFL, right?
But you remember we also talked about that you're not captive and there's no contract here, so you can leave FFL any point in time that you want to. Remember we talked about that?
That's good.
That makes sense. Yes, I remember we talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right, so it's your license. You get to keep your license as long as you do continue education every 2 years. That belongs to you. Do you know anybody as that like cuts hair? You know, like your barber.
Yeah, I do.
They have a license. You see that they have a license, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think they pay for the license, or do you think the barbershop pay for the license?
I think they pay for the license. Yeah,
they pay for the license. Right. Okay. Yeah. So, and why do you think that is? Why do you think the barbershop didn't pay for it versus your barber?
Because it's the barber's responsibility. All right.
There you go. Just like this, and this license gonna pay you a lot more than that barber license. I guarantee you that.
Okay.
So you think it's worth the $150 investment for the license and the exam if you can make 6 figures a year?
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth it. About the leads though, as far as like paying for leads, that wasn't really something I was the most excited about. So how does that work?
Well, you just said it. You pay for the leads. You buy the leads, you call the leads, and you go on appointments, and you make money. That's how that works.
Okay.
But is your concern about the leads? Is it actually having to buy them? What's your concern with the leads specifically?
Not necessarily having to buy them, but the profitability.
Okay, I got it. So just like any other business, right? There's a level of risk involved, right? So if you open a McDonald's, do you have any idea how much it costs to open a McDonald's?
I don't.
It's about $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million, right? And do you think McDonald's gives that owner? You think it gives them burgers and fries? And do you think that comes from McDonald's? Or do you think they have to buy that?
I think they have to buy that.
Why do they buy it? Then do you think it's a risk in them buying it?
Per se. Yep.
Okay. So if you could buy $1,000 of leads a week, and roughly, let's just say lowball, and you make $5,000, so that's $1,000 investment. Does it make sense to profit $4,000 a week?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I've been doing this for a while and I invest every week into leads, and I haven't had 1 week that I've came out. Worst case scenario, I break even, right? If I spend 1,000, let's just say I make 1,000. Have I lost anything?
No, you broke even. Okay.
So at the end of the day, this is really up to you. And so you buy the leads, it's going to depend on you and how hard you're willing to work. Are you willing? The question that I got for you is, are you willing to work hard enough to be able to, at the very least, make your money back? And best case scenario, to be able to turn that $1,000 into leads into $5,000 or $10,000 for the week.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's no question if they're going to work. It's going to be up to you if you want to work the leads. That's the question.
Right.
So thank you, Eze.
Right.
That was a good example. Yeah. So guys, I wanted you to see, and as they stay there, I want you guys to really see how this actually works with, because as I'm asking you these questions, I'm not telling him anything. So he has to, in his mind, he's thinking about the answer, And because I'm not telling him, he's telling me, he's going to make it make sense to him. I'm not trying to convince him of anything. I'm asking him questions and he's giving me the answer. So he believes him. He doesn't believe me because he doesn't know me. So I can tell him all day how great this FFL is and how the leads are going to turn into this, but I'm having him think about stuff that he can relate it to in his mind so it makes sense. So he's not confused when he gets started about what, what to expect. And because he said it himself, now he feels like he came up with it. Versus I didn't come up with the answers, he came with the answers for himself. And he made it make sense in his mind because I asked him the question. And if you guys could also see, because he wasn't controlling the conversation, I was in control of the whole conversation because he asked me a question. I didn't always just respond with an answer. I asked him a question in return that made him think about what he's asking. Did that make sense? So how did that feel like if you were a recruit on your side, like what did that do in your mind, like psychologically? Like how do you think that changed the direction that you were trying to go in?
It kind of psychologically forces you to make the decision because like you're forcing the person to say out loud why it makes nothing but sense. So in turn, it's like, okay, if I'm not taking action, it's literally off the strength of my ego at this point. So I think it kind of really just drives the point home on the decision. Yeah.
There you go. And so now you know what I'm saying, that, but I didn't tell you, no, as this works, the leads work, you, and I gave you an example. So McDonald's, right? Perfect example. You spend all this money. I'm saying spend, a couple dollars, $1,000 a week. And this is just an example, $1,000 a week to get 5,000 back in return. That's common sense. But I didn't tell you that. You told me because I asked you a question.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. We got like a couple more minutes. I saw a couple questions. Hold on a second. No, I would answer the question, Taj. I would, as far as like my success is concerned, I would answer the question. I was just trying to give you guys an example of asking questions. When somebody asks you a question, you got to get good at asking a question in return. So I do share how much I make. And you could always, so how much have you made at FFL? So, I mean, hell, you could, there's so many different ways you could do this. You can say, well, if you just got started, hey, listen, I just got started, but I can let you talk to my manager. She's going to make $500,000 this next year or this year, right? Or, saying, like, I just got started. I haven't made any money yet, but there's so many people that I've seen winning that I can point you to that are having success in the business. So it doesn't have to, again, take it off of you and point it to other people who have gotten here before you so that they can show, and they're the ones that are going to validate the system. Because again, a lot of times people just need to hear it from a second voice, right? You might say it and then they don't hear it, but then you get Corinne on the phone with them and they're like, oh yeah, I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Because now Corinne has validated everything that you already have told them. So sometimes it's just a matter, Sandra, of pointing them in the right direction. You could also be like, you know what, my last sale, I made $3,000 on, whatever the case may be. But I will also say this, if you're not making money here, that's your fault. It's nobody. So if you're in a position where you feel funny about shit, especially not if you just got here, that's a different story. But if you've been here for any period of time and you're not making money consistently, that's not FFL's fault, that's your fault. And if you're not recruiting consistently because of where you are, you need to change something within you. At the end of the day, like, you need to make a decision and say, I'm going to make today the day, and I'm going to get uncomfortable and I'm going to get to work so I can be that example. So you can stop using the excuse of I'm not successful here, so I can't help anybody else. Get yourself in a position so that you can help other people. Because here, there's no reason why you shouldn't make money. If you've been here for any period of time, like, you should be making money at FFL. And if you're not, it's not because of the system. It's not because of FFL. It's because of the decision that you need to make to get better. Guys, we're at 12 o'clock, and so I don't want to keep you any longer. We will have training next Saturday. I'm gonna turn this off real quick. But don't hang up till I'm done. I got a couple more things I want to say.